you kind of get into this space where you're trying to do all these things and you get overwhelmed, right? The biggest hack I found is time is actually fungible if we think about it. So if you're, and I've used this example with an old business partner of mine about how he has kids and he doesn't have time to work out. Because, well, I don't want to work out at 10 o'clock at night when I put him in the kid. If we take I used to go to bed at like 11:30. So let's say, just to make the argument, we'll say 11. And then, you know, I'd get home from training at 8:30, whatever. I'm like, okay, from 8:30 to like 11, I'm like, well, I have to get ready and do all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, what time do your kids go to bed? It's like, okay, well, they go to bed about 8:39. Like, for the sake of the conversation, do 9. So from 9 to 11, what are you doing? Oh, okay, well, I have to be up at 7. I'm like, okay, well, what if we took even just an hour of that time and we put it at the beginning of the day, 4 or 7. So from 6 to 7, 100% of the time, you will be more efficient, productive, and effective than you will be having that same exact hour doing whatever you're doing right before you go to bed. Yeah, man. Like, what are you doing usually from 10 to 11 or from 9 to 10? It's usually not as productive as what you're doing from 6 to 7 or 5 to 6, right? So I found a way to take all of that time, and I'll go to bed at 10 instead of 11:30. Well, what do I do from that hour and a half? Well, I'll get my ass up at 5. Yeah. And then from 5 to 5:15, I've already laid out all my stuff, right? So you have it figured out, and this doesn't even have to be for training. This could be for if you want to read, or our friend Joe does this, right, where he'll study and stuff. Like, he'll get up before he needs, because that time, nobody's bothering you, nobody's texting you, nobody's on the road at 5 a.m. It's my favorite thing. It's all green lights from my house to the gym, right? Yeah. But what's funny is some mornings, as I'm like leaving, or if I leave early, or some mornings on a Friday, I'll pull my car through that parking lot across the street, and as I'm doing it, I look to my right and I see one car and a light on at this gym, and I know it's his ass working out.
I love it,
right? Because months ago we talked about this. It was like, that's the time that you have to fit that in, because that's a priority. But that hour working out there is probably a lot better right before you see clients than doing it right before you go to bed.
Yeah, it's smart, because it's like you know it's a way to kind of combine like that grind set mentality of like you gotta work hard, while also being able to do it smarter.
Yeah, man.
And sometimes it's like if you can just be more productive in a task in 1 hour, doing it right,
might as well.
Then it would take you 3 hours in the wrong state. Like,
like 5 to 8.
Yeah, and then it, like everything else, like that'll catapult into everything else.
Yeah,
so that'll expand into that 1 hour that you now saved, or that was still productive. Now all of a sudden it opens up 2 hours later on.
Yeah.
So yeah, 100%, man. It's a really smart way of going about it. Is like, make your priorities and then fit in those priorities when it is the best time to accomplish them. Yeah. And that's where the discipline part comes in. Yeah. Is like, you might not want to do it at that time, but you know it's the most efficient, and you know that the reward you get from doing it is not just that you did the thing and you're like, oh, good, I got to work out. Yeah. It's also that at 10 o'clock at night you get to spend time with your girl.
Exactly.
You get to spend time with your kids. Or
it'll pay off eventually.
You get to do that thing that
and usually sooner than later,
and it pays off.
It does pay off. And what's really cool about this little thing before we kind of come to the like concluding questions is, I want to really hammer this home. People say like, oh, I get really bad sleep. Like, okay, no matter how you're going to sleep tonight, challenge anybody. Wake up at 5 tomorrow. And I guarantee, so say it's Saturday. Wake up at 5 a.m. on the Sunday. Go work out. I guarantee Sunday night you won't have a problem falling asleep before 11.
Yeah, that's a good insight.
There's no way if you don't you can go the whole day and not be like, oh man, I'm really tired. Yeah. Because your body can't be stressed and like tired at the same time. So you won't be really going to bed, well, I'm yawning like 50 times at 9 o'clock, right? It's like, oh, I want to go to bed. I'll refuse sometimes to go out on a Saturday or on a Friday night because I was up at 5:30 or up at 5 in the morning on Friday morning, and I'm like, well, I didn't nap, and couldn't make time to nap. So I'm like, I'm gonna be home before 11.
There's also something to be said about like better sleep when you feel like you've actually
accomplished something,
and you earn it. Right?
Yeah,
you've earned it.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Your brain kind of just is able to shut off and recognize, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
There's nothing else I have to do.